DFZRadio.com.
Well, hey there, gentle listeners. This is your buddy, Herb the Wizard. And I'll be ready in just a minute. Just let me find it on the dial. Well, hey, man. Feels like 40 to 5 o'clock. Wishing I was digipeeping smidgens of pigeons. No perspiration, though. We got a bouquet in a bonnet, so all's copacetic. Well, there we go. This is it. Get ready. We're going to start the show. Wait there, everybody. This is your buddy, Herb the Wizard. And I'm here to welcome you, gentle listeners, to this, our 61st episode of the Grow with Grubby Cup Show. Now, unfortunately, this week's episode was supposed to contain an interview with my CO2 guy, but he's not here right now, so we'll have to do that again next week, or maybe we go talk to the my CO2 guy, and I think that will be really cool. And I think it's time for your magical potion. Take some really tasty magical potion, man. Take some really nice magical potion, man, but it's got a lot of fizzies in it. There's a lot of bubbles in that magical potion. Anyway, welcome everybody to the show, and it's getting ready to start just right about now. And now it's time to listen to a little bit of the wonderful and delightful Kelly Erickson, currently playing with Teaser.
We got some seeds to grow, he'll keep you in the know. Variety to claim, so baby, what's his name? He's the man to know. He'll make your garden grow. Grubby Cup's his name. He's the man who'll make a change.
Hello there, gentle listeners. This is your roving bard, Leaf Malone, reporting on the Grow with Grubby Cup show, brought to you by DFZ Radio at dfzradio.com. And here they are, the buds of the circle table.
Oh, see, it is I, Sancho Banza. I am currently a cockroach, but I am also the Green Knight's faithful squire.
Good evening. I'm Alfred the Dungeon Keeper. I don't have to live in the dungeon. I do so because it makes me happy. Hi there, friends. This is the Irreverend Job, and I just want to take a moment and wish each and every one of you the very best in your endeavors. And I'm Herb the Wizard, and I really like magical potions, and I really like it when people like stuff, so I hope you like it, and I hope you like the show.
Psst, psst. Hey, you. Yeah, you're listening to the radio thingy there. It's me, Vinny the Viper. And I just want to welcome you to the show.
And I am your host, the Green Knight, Grubby Cup Stash. Thank you for joining us here on the Grow with Grubby Cup show.
Don't forget me, it is I, the Sheriff of Riding Park.
No, Sheriff, we can't forget you.
And now I am off to spread misery everywhere.
This is your wandering bard, Leaf Malone, and this just in. And now, gentle listeners, it is time for Dear Grubby Cup. Dear Grubby Cup is the portion of our program where we answer questions from you, the gentle listener. If you have a question and you'd like it answered on Dear Grubby Cup, please write in either at grubbycup.com, the Grow with Grubby Cup Facebook page, or care of this station. And as always, that plant that shall not be named shall continue not to be named, so don't include direct references in your letters, please.
Oh, Signor Grubby Cup, Signor Grubby, I have a question for you.
Oh, hey, Sancho. Go ahead, read your question.
The letter she reads, Dear Grubby Cup, there are a variety of organic materials that I use as part of my nutrients. Is there anything I could use that will help me see what I'm actually adding as I'm adding it? I mean, the NPK values, they get so confusing. And the letter she assigned Susie Silly.
Well, Susie, to make it easy on you, because I know it can be difficult, especially if you're adding a dash of this and a dollop of that sort of a thing. One thing you can do is if you go to grubbycup.com under the Gizmos link, there's a custom nutrient planner. And what that will allow you to do is to create your own schedule. So you can put in what amounts you want to use of what material, and it will calculate for you what your actual nitrogen, phosphorus, and sodium or potassium ppm is for those doses, and it will also allow you to put in a full 12-week schedule, and then it will graph it out for you so that you can see where you're giving it the most nitrogen and the most phosphorus and the most potassium. If you're really geeky minded, that sort of thing can come in handy. If there's a nutrient or a fertilizer that you use that isn't listed, shoot me a note either by selecting the Ask Grubby Cup link on the website, or you can send it to grubbycup@gmail.com, or you can contact me through Facebook, and I'll see what I can do about adding that on the list for you. I hope that gives you some help, Susie, because to walk through the math, it gets a little annoying. So unless you're really into that sort of thing, hop on over and give the Gizmo a try. Oh, and P.S., while you're there poking around in the Gizmo section, there is also a handy nutrient list that gives the nutrient NPK values, or at least ballpark figures of NPK values for a variety of popular nutrient sources. Next letter, please.
Oh, hey, dear Grubby, I got a letter for you. It's this letter right here.
All right, Herb. Well, what's the letter say?
Oh, the letter, it says, Dear Grubby Cup, I really like the show, and thank you for doing the show every week.
Is there a question?
No, that's all it says.
Why, is it signed by anybody?
No.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the compliment.
Well, hey, dear Grubby Cup, I have another letter for you.
All right, Herb, what's the letter say?
The letter, it says, Dear Grubby Cup, what's the last thing you planted in your garden?
Well, the last plants I just added is I just started some squash. I'm trying a couple of different varieties of squash. Unfortunately, in my little area, it's not the best area for squash, but the climate's fine. It's just there's a lot of shade going on in my backyard. And hopefully, a few months from now, there will be little squashes. Keep you posted on what's going on. I'm also starting some heirloom tomatoes in that. So that's just kind of an update on what I'm putting up in the garden. We're coming up on spring, so there should be more stuff added soon.
All right, Grubby. Hey, Grubby. And we need to check and make sure everybody's extra special safe. So everybody do a safety check and make sure that you're extra special safe. Because I like it when people are safe. Because I wouldn't want anybody to get hurt or anybody to be sad or anything like that. So everybody check your stuff and make sure you're extra special safe.
Oh, Signor Grubby Cup! Signor Grubby!
What is it, Sancho?
Oh, Signor Grubby, what do you get if you divide the circumference of a pumpkin by its diameter?
I don't know, Sancho. What do you get if you divide a pumpkin's circumference by its diameter?
Oh, you get it, the pumpkin pie.
Oh, now for a few words from our sponsors.
The Grow with Grubby Cup show is brought to you in part by
Grubby Cup Spotting Mix. Now available at Harvest Moon locations in New York and soon to be available through Sunlight Supply throughout the Northeast. One thing that I get asked is what sets Grubby Cup Spotting Mix, what sets my mix apart from the variety of other admittedly fine choices on the market. Well, for one thing, my face is on the bag. If you are a consumer or you are a hydro shop and you have a question about the product, you want to talk about it, you have an issue with it, a comment, concern, anything you want, I will talk to you personally. The guy whose face is on the bag will get you on the phone and we will talk personally. No routing you out to, some call center, who knows where. No going through a whole bunch of little guys to middle management guys before you can actually get to somebody. I will talk to you personally. If you purchase my mix and you're not satisfied with it for any reason, give me your phone number. I will call you up and talk about it with you. If you are a hydro shop and you have any issue, you have a customer with any issue, let me know. I will get them on the phone. I will get you on the phone, and we will talk about it, and we will work through it. Also, if you are a hydro shop in the New England area and you are carrying Grubby Cup Spotting Mix, please do me a favor, get a hold of me. I make a tour now and then. I've got one coming up throughout the New England area. If your shop carries the mix, I'd love to come by, meet with you, talk with your customers, sign bags. Give me a buzz. We'll work something out if I can at all fit you in the schedule.
also brought to you by
Todd's friend Diane. She's the proud winner of Ugly Christmas Tree Ornament with a hand-crocheted pouch made by yours truly. Thanks for your support, Diane. They're in the mail. I hope they arrive safely. And the two little discs that are in it are Grubby coins. So they're little pieces of fired clay. And if your herbs are a little dry, what have you, you can dip it in water and it will slowly release the moisture back in, and it can help rehydrate overly dried lavender or whatever. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on dfzradio.com.
DFZRadio.com.
Hi, and welcome to Non-Specific Hydro.
Yeah, hey, I have a buddy of mine that was telling me about a great additive.
Okay, do you remember the name?
Yeah, his name's Steve. He's a good buddy.
No, the product.
No, he told me it was a super concentrated organic enhancer. Comes in a yellow bottle.
Well, it sounds like he's talking about Floralicious Plus from General Hydroponics.
I don't think that was the name, but he also told me it was a vegan bioplant stimulator that contained vitamins, plant sugars, amino acids, seaweed extract.
Yeah, that would be General Hydroponics Floralicious Plus.
I don't think that's it, man. He told me it was something like Dora Vicious Flush or something, and he said it was like an organic supplement that could also be used in vegging or flowering, and it was compatible with hydro soil and cocoa.
Yes, that would be General Hydroponics Floralicious Plus.
Oh, hey, man. I just remembered what it's called. It's Floralicious Plus.
Oh, good. I was drawing a blank.
Floralicious Plus from General Hydroponics. Ask for it by name.
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to DFZRadio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on the DFZ Radio Network at DFZRadio.com. Hello, gentle listeners and all the ships at sea. This is your wandering bard, Leaf Malone. And now it's time for Meals and Munchies. Well, gee whiz, Joe Grubby Cup, I'm feeling kind of hungry. So what are we making today? Well, Herb, today we're going to make Heavenly Dutch Babies, which is a variation on one of my favorite recipes, the Dutch Baby recipe. To make it, we're going to need 2 eggs, a couple of tablespoons of butter, a 1/4 cup of flour, and a 1/4 cup of milk. Well, gee whiz, Grubby, we got that right here, and that's not very much, and we could do that with this right here. And to cook it in, for each serving, we're going to need a little ramekin or a small cast iron, small skillets, or pretty much any individual sized, a small container that can go in the oven and has relatively straight sides to it. Well, gee whiz, Grubby, since you make this kind of stuff on a regular basis, we got us a supply of ramekins right here. Well, that's cool, Herb. Okay, well, to start with, we're going to need to crack an egg. Well, gee whiz, Grubby, we got your eggs right here, and they're not cracked already, because you have to crack them yourself, because they stay better if they're not already cracked. Yeah, Herb, I think you're a little cracked. Anyway, just a little side note, when you're cracking an egg, you want to crack it against a flat surface. An egg itself is round, so that gives you a surface in which to break if you smack it. You can use a flat surface. You don't want to break it on the edge of a bowl or something with an edge. And the reason for that is if you hit it on the edge, that can send small little eggshell shards into the egg, which then will wind up in your whatever it is that you're baking. Well, gee whiz, Grubby, we wouldn't want that. I don't like it when there's eggs on the inside because that's going to make it crunchy. That's true. And for another reason is that for hygiene purposes, you want to avoid the outside of the egg coming into contact with the food as much as possible. The outside of the egg is
by and large where most of your salmonella and contaminants and that kind of stuff comes from. So you don't want to, don't lick the egg. Anyway, so crack your egg, and although in a Dutch baby, usually I say use a blender, and if that's all what we were doing, I would say use a blender for this. But I'm going to be using a mixer because we're going to use the mixer again, and this way we only have to wash one thing. We don't have to wash both the blender and the mixer.
Well, gee whiz, Grubby, that'll make it kind of nice, because that way you're going to have quite as much stuff to clean up.
So take your egg and put it in your bowl and put it in your mixer and start your mixer. And basically what you want to do is you want to get it mixed up enough to where it's a light creamy yellow. So put it in the mixer and start it out at a low, but you can go ahead and knock that up a couple notches if you want, and get it thoroughly mixed. After that, what you're going to add to that is your 1/4 cup of flour, and you're going to add that a little bit at a time. And then you're going to take the milk, your 1/4 cup of milk, and you're going to slowly add that in. And then you're going to let all of that mix together for about a minute. And you want to do that on a medium setting-ish, so you get it stirred pretty well.
Well, gee whiz, Grubby, your mixer's going. We're going to have it mixed up here pretty quick.
Now, to be technical, what have you, most of the recipes call for adding the milk first and then adding the flour. What I found is that adding the flour first doesn't seem to hurt it, and if you put in your dry ingredient before you can put in your wet ingredient, then you've only dirtied up one measuring cup, and you've got less to wash. And I'm a big fan of not having to wash any more dishes than I have to.
Well, yeah, Grubby, because there's other stuff you could do besides washing extra dishes. You could play with a dragon, or you go for a walk, or there's all kinds of stuff you could do if you're not doing so many dishes.
Okay, preheat your oven to 425 degrees. And when it's ready, go ahead and take your couple tablespoons of butter, put it in the bottom of the dish. Put the dish in the oven so that the butter melts. When the butter's melted and hopefully the oven is up to temperature, then you can put it in and you're going to let that cook. It's going to complete its cooking in about 15 minutes, but you're going to interrupt it before then. So go ahead and you get that in the oven and get that started. And then we move on to the second portion. For the second portion, we're going to make an egg cloud. So here's where we've already got our mixer, dirty, messed up. And go ahead and we want to wash out the bowl because you want to make sure that there is no fats or oils left in the bowl when you put the egg whites in, because we're going to make a meringue basically. And if you have yolk or if you have any fats in the bowl, then it won't come up right. For the same reason you want to use a glass or a metal bowl, don't use a plastic bowl because it can interfere with the meringue setting up.
Well, yeah, Grubby, I tried that one time, and I was mixing it by hand, and I mixed, and it took a whole lot of mixing, and then just still wasn't quite right, because I used a plastic bowl, and that's how I found out you aren't supposed to use a plastic bowl.
That's right, Herb. Okay, take your remaining egg, and this part it's kind of easy, but this is where a lot of the flash comes from. Go ahead and you're going to separate the yolk from the white, and
The way I do it is go ahead and crack your egg and split it into 2 halves over a bowl. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of to empty out 1 half of the eggshell and then drop the yolk in it so you can empty out the white in the other half of the eggshell. And by moving the yolk back and forth, it may take a time or two. You can separate the yolk from the white. Now, since we're only using 1 egg and we're using 1 bowl, that works out fine. If you're going to split several eggs into whites and yolks, I recommend that you split it over a cup or over a bowl individually and then pour it into a larger bowl. Because, like I said before, if you get yolk in your meringue, then it doesn't work. So you want to make sure that you don't have any yolk in your egg white.
Oh, gee whiz, Grubby, I kind of spilled a little, and so the yolk broke, and now what do I do with it?
Well, okay, we're going to make scrambled eggs with your egg later, and we're just going to keep on going with the separated one. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the egg white, and you put it in the bowl, put it in a pinch of salt, and turn the mixer on. Probably with a whip attachment if you've got it.
Oh, gee whiz, Grubby, I didn't know the mixer had a whipping attachment. We better not tell Alfred, and he'll do something with it, and it probably won't be very nice.
No, it's for whipping yolks. Or for whipping the whites. It's all right. What you're looking for is you're going to incorporate air and you're going to recombine the proteins, so to speak. And it may take a few minutes depending on how fast you're whipping and other factors such as how cold the eggs are, etc. But it will start to froth up. It'll go from a clear, it'll start to froth up, and it'll get a little white, and then it'll get a little stiffer until you wind up with like a soft peak, which just basically means that if you stick a spoon in it and draw it out, it makes a peak that kind of falls over, and then you have a firm peak, which is where it'll stand up on its own. And we want it pretty firm. So keep mixing it until you get a hard peak with your utensil. Now what you're going to do...
Oh, wait a minute, Grubby. So you mean that you beat the eggs and it gets stiffer as time goes on and as you beat them?
Well, yeah. If you beat them too much, they'll start to break down again. But up until you can get them pretty stiff before they do that. And yeah, as you continue to whip them, as you continue to beat them, they get stiffer and stiffer.
Well, gee whiz, now I think I know why Alfred likes eggs so much. He's got a lot of things you get stiffer as they get beat.
I'm just not gonna say anything about that. Now that we have our meringue and we have our separated egg yolk, we're gonna wait until about 6 minutes out from our 15 minutes worth of cooking time here. Because what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to cook we're going to take the little ramekin and we're going to open up the oven. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spoon the meringue on the Dutch baby, which should be rising by now. And one cool thing, if you haven't made Dutch babies before, that's really cool, is that they will climb up the sides and they will puff up. They're kind of related to a popover. But they'll rise kind of like a souffle will, but like a really thick souffle. Okay, so then what we're going to do is spoon the meringue on top of the Dutch baby. And You may have to, do a little bit more to one side to the other and in the middle, depending on how the Dutch baby rises when it rises. It'll make sense when you see it. We're going to cover the top with the meringue, and then what we're going to do is take the back of the spoon and make a little depression in the middle, because that's where you're going to set the yolk.
Well, gee whiz, Grubby, that is like a little cloud. That's very peaceful looking. It's pretty.
You've been at the magical potion again.
Yep.
I can tell.
Yep.
Set it back in the oven. Going to return it to the oven for 3 minutes, because what we're trying to do is you want to set the meringue, and then we're going to add the yolk.
Well, all right, we'll just do a little fast forward then. Jumpers, cookies.
Where'd the harp lady go? Don't you usually get music when you do that?
Well, yeah, but she said it wasn't worth getting out of bed for a quickie.
Your 3 minutes are up. Take your saved yolk, and then you're going to set that in the little depression that you made. So you'll have this white fluffy cloud with the little golden sun egg yolk in the middle. And then return that to the oven, and you're going to let that finish cooking. So that'll be, anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, depending on how firm you like your egg yolk. And again, as always, if you're not going to cook the egg all the way through, take whatever safety precautions and get good eggs, preferably ones you raised yourself, as eating undercooked eggs can have some risk to it.
Well, gee whiz, Grubby, I don't know, but, I know what chicken these came out of, so I think we're pretty okay. They have names, and I found that when you have an animal that's used for food production and has a name because somebody cares about it, that just makes it a little bit nicer. Well, unless you eat the animal, and then you probably don't want to give it a name because then you might get too attached to it.
All right, then. Well, once your 3 to 6 minutes are up, open up, take a look at it, and you should have a cute little Dutch baby that is covered in this white fluffy cloud of meringue egg white with a cute little yolk on the top.
Oh, gee whiz, Grubby, that looks really nice. That's a really pretty one. That came out nice. Could I have that one? I would like to eat that one because that looks really yummy. And that looks really pretty, too, because that wasn't a lot of work. But it sure looks like it's a lot of work. And that's not something that not a lot of people will have for breakfast. And now you have it for breakfast. And, hey, our general listeners, they could have it for breakfast, too, because now they know how to do it.
That's all the time we have this week for this week's Meals and Munchies. I hope you enjoyed it. If you give it a shot, go ahead and take a picture of it and post it on the Grow with Grubby Cup Facebook page. I'd like to see if anybody else is, off enough to try this sort of thing.
Well, gee whiz, Grubby, I think you should try it because it's not that difficult to do, and it's really pretty, and it tastes good, too. Yum, 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 yum.
This program is brought to you in part by MyFarmJar.com, proud purveyors of the Grubby Cup Stash Jar. Check them out at MyFarmJar.com. Once again, that's at MyFarmJar.com. Also brought to you by Bubba Head's Naked Pig. They got barbecue and briskets and barbecue. It's good. Buy it. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on dfzradio.com.
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to dfzradio.com.
Botanicare is proud to introduce a revolutionary 3-part nutrient system that is the culmination of over 15 years of research and development. The Kind Plant Nutrient System. Designed by leading plant physiologists, this is the most versatile, effective, yet easy-to-use plant nutrient system ever created. It all starts with Kind Base. Kind Base contains nitrogen and calcium, but no trace minerals, magnesium, or sulfur. By placing those nutrients in the Grow and Bloom formulas, you have greater control over how your plants grow in your medium of choice. Using coco coir or RO water, just add more base to increase calcium levels. Growing in clay pebbles or rock wool, then just reduce the amount of base to ensure the proper calcium level. It's that easy. Kind Grow contains trace minerals and a proprietary blend of all natural ingredients to help maximize root growth, reduce internodal spacing, and create a lush canopy. Kind Bloom was formulated with the optimum phosphorus to potassium ratio. Your plants will have healthy branch and stalk development, accelerated flower set, and increased yields. Kind Bloom also contains magnesium to help improve photosynthetic efficiency, which is critical in accelerated growth environments. To put it more simply, Botanicare's Kind nutrient system is the only nutrient system that is fully customizable to your kind of plants and medium. Botanicare Kind Base, Grow, and Bloom. Fully customizable. Any plant, any medium. For more information, go to botanicare.com. Botanicare Kind. Make it your kind.
dfzradio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash, and you're listening to us on dfzradio.com. Flash, and now it's time for your moment of meditation. Friends, this is the Reverend Job, and I'm here to tell you that today I will be leading you in this week's moment of meditation. Now I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story, and then I'm going to give you a moment to think about it for this week's moment of meditation. Now, this story that I'm going to tell you is about resources, and it is about the natural progression of resources if they are not managed well. Now, this here is a story that you probably have not heard before. Now, if you have, just bear with me, because there's a lot of people that haven't heard it yet. Now, this here is the story of hydroponic yeast. Yes, you can grow yeast hydroponically. People have been growing yeast hydroponically for thousands and thousands of years. Let me give you the highlights of how it is done. The first thing that you need is you need a quantity of water. You want it to be clean water. You want it to be pure water. And once you have your quantity of water, then what you want to add to that is you're going to add yourself a little sugar. You're going to add a little sugar, either as sugar, or you're going to add it as something that ends in a ose, something like a dextrose or fructose or some kind of ose. And then what you're going to do is you're going to boil those together, because sometimes what you're adding when you add the sugars, you're adding some kind of fruit juice, or you're adding some kind of honey, or you're adding some kind of other
natural sugar, and you don't want any bacteria in there. You don't want any wild yeasts in there. You only want the yeast that you put in there. And once the water and the sugar have been boiled enough to make them clean and purify them from the evil bacteria, then you're going to add you a little bit of yeast. And what'll happen is that the yeast, it'll get with the sugar and it'll start eating that sugar and it'll start reproducing. The next thing you know is you're going to have a lot of yeast in that there solution with the water and the sugar. Now, since that yeast doesn't have any competition, since in that little world, that little environment, that little yeast is the very pinnacle of the life forms available, it will completely take over. And it will eat the sugar, and it will make poo. It will excrete a substance. Now, what'll happen is that yeast will continue to eat the sugar for as long as it can. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, gee, times are pretty good for the yeast right then. And they are. The yeast does well. It eats a bunch of sugar. It reproduces. It's being awful happy. But what it is not good at, it is not good at resource management. And because it is not good at resource management, what it will do is it will continue to eat sugar, and it will continue to evacuate itself into the water until such time as it either runs out of food and dies, or it will just continue to eat the sugar until it dies because of the amount of excretions, the amount of basically poo that it excretes into the water. But, Reverend Job, I hear some of you saying, but I like the excrement from a yeast. I like it. I like to put it in my mouth, and I like to put it in my belly. 'Cause what they excrete is alcohol. So basically, under reasonable conditions with enough of a food supply, yeast will continue to eat until it fulfills its destiny to die in its own poo, which will then be harvested for human consumption. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage anyone from enjoying the fruits of yeast poo. That's a personal call. That's a personal choice. The point I would like to make here, the point I am trying to get across to you with my little story, is that if there is an available resource, just because it is an available resource does not mean you need to be in a rush to expire in your own poo. And keep in mind that in all things, moderation, including moderation, because you gotta cut a little loose once in a while. And now I want you to get ready. I want you to go, and I want you to take a big breath in. I want you to take a big breath in, and then I want you to hold it. I want you to, and then hold it, and then let it out. Ooh. That's right. I want you to go in with the good air, and I want you to go out with that bad air. Now one more time.
I want you to go in with the good air and a good big breath of air. And then hold it. And then out with the bad air. Now, before I let you go, I want to tell you that I hope the forces of meanness are avoiding you today. I hope the forces of meanness are leaving you alone. And if you are one of those that contributes to the forces of meanness, well, then I have just one thing to say to you. I, the Irreverend Job, have a special message for those of you who are participating in the forces of meanness. And this is what I have to say to you. Don't be an asshole. This has been the Irreverend Job with your moment of meditation.
I would just like to remind everyone that the Irreverend Job is a fictitious character, and some of his views are highly endorsed by the Grow with Grubby Cup show.
The Grow with Grubby Cup show is brought to you by
Grow with Us Hydroponics. If you're in the Rhode Island, Warwick area and you need some hydroponic supplies, stop on by at Grow With Us Hydroponics. Tell them Grubby sent you. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on dfzradio.com.
dfzradio.com.
Botanicare is proud to introduce a revolutionary three-part nutrient system that is the culmination of over 15 years of research and development. The Kind Plant Nutrient System. Designed by leading plant physiologists, this is the most versatile, effective, yet easy-to-use plant nutrient system ever created. It all starts with Kind Base. Kind Base contains nitrogen and calcium, but no trace minerals, magnesium, or sulfur. By placing those nutrients in the Grow and Bloom formulas, you have greater control over how your plants grow in your medium of choice. Using coco coir or RO water, just add more base to increase calcium levels. Growing in clay pebbles or rock wool, then just reduce the amount of base to ensure the proper calcium level. It's that easy. Kind Grow contains trace minerals and a proprietary blend of all natural ingredients to help maximize root growth, reduce internodal spacing, and create a lush canopy. Kind Bloom was formulated with the optimum phosphorus to potassium ratio. Your plants will have healthy branch and stalk development, accelerated flower set, and increased yields. Kind Bloom also contains magnesium to help improve photosynthetic efficiency, which is critical in accelerated growth environments. To put it more simply, Botanicare's Kind Nutrient System is the only nutrient system that is fully customizable to your kind of plants and medium. Botanicare Kind Base, Grow, and Bloom. Fully customizable. Any plant, any medium. For more information, go to botanicare.com. Botanicare Kind. Make it your kind.
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to dfzradio.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I'm your host, Grubby Cup Stash. You're listening to us on DFZ Radio at dfzradio.com.
Oh, Signor Grubby Cup! Signor Grubby! I forget. I was gonna say something and it was gonna be smart, but now it's not.
Okay, Sancho, I want to thank you not at all for that contribution.
Oh, jeez, Grubby Cup. It's not easy being a cockroach. We can all be captains. Some of us have to be sailors.
And now for upcoming events brought to you by the Grow Tag Directory, which can be found at grubbycup.com. On 3/26, the North Carolina American Beauty Garden Center is having the Clonex Racing Team. So if you'd like to meet Hawk and the other guys at the Clonex Racing Team, go on over to American Beauty Center in North Carolina on 3/26. On 4/17 in New York, Mike's Nursery is having a Customer Appreciation Day. On 4/18 in Florida, Urban Roots Garden Supply is having a Customer Appreciation Day. On 6/19 in Michigan, UPGC is having a party, which I am planning on being at. So if you're in the Michigan area around 6/19, come on by. I'm really looking forward to this one. On 6/20th in Maine, the Urban Garden Center in Brewer is having a Customer Appreciation Day. Check back weekly, and I'll let you know the next few events that I know about as time goes on. And just as a sneak peek to next week, if all goes well, I will be getting some tape from the My CO2 guy and hopefully hit some hydro shops. So hopefully we'll have clips for that next week. Also, on a personal note, I'm looking for a cheap used bass guitar, because I think that would be cool to learn how to use. So I'm in the market, but it's got to be cheap because I don't have a big budget for it. Anyway, so if you have a left-handed bass guitar you're not doing anything with and it's just taking up space, let me know what you want for it, and maybe we can work something out. And that's about all the time we have for this week. Thank you for tuning in once again. You've been listening to the Grow with Grubby Cup show. I've been your host, Grubby Cup Stash, and you've been listening to us on DFZ Radio at dfzradio.com, unless you're listening to one of the YouTube ones, in which case it's a YouTube. Until next week, this is Grubby Cup Stash, wishing each and every one of you peace, love, and puka shells.
You got some seeds to grow, he'll keep you in the know. Variety to claim, so baby, what's his name? He's a man to know. He'll make your garden grow. Grubby Cup's his name. He's the man who make a change.
Well, you're really impressive. You listen to the whole show and you even listen to your theme song and everything. This is your boy, Herb the Wizard, and I just want to tell you thank you very much for tuning in. Until we see you next week. Bye-bye!
Your garden's looking far out. You must listen to dfzradio.com.